Your boy Noonie Noon coming to you live once again, folks. Basketball. There were so many legends in Paterson. This is where I got to tell my story. We all have our story to tell. We got to tell your story, else it'll get told wrong if you don't tell it. As far as my opinion and my views on some of the most bona fide players that came out of Paterson, being their destination, the NBA, CBA, college, high school, or just the street. They're not confined by labels. They're confined by my experience in going against these guys on the basketball court. So, if you disagree with some of what I have to say, or if I offended anyone by leaving some folks out, please let me know, because that is not my intentions. This is a very hard thing to do and to remember. All of the so-called gunslingers, that means basketball players. When we came up, people in my era, we went out searching for folks that we heard or we thought that was good in terms of competition. So, in Paterson, out of Paterson, New York, New Jersey, every city. But tonight I'm speaking primarily about Paterson superstars from back in the day. To me, they were superstars if I went against them. And some names I'm going to mention. So again, if I forget anyone, because there's a lot of bona fide players I ran across that I can't even remember their names, but I remember their games. We used to go by schools or go by areas in Paterson. So you had a lot of different areas that had a certain superstar, sometimes 2 or 3 in that same area. So school 6 area, we had so many players, bro. Like I said, it's going to be difficult, but someone has to do it. So I figure I'll tell a little of my story, but this would not be the only night. So we had myself, of course, Noonie Noon, aka John Benjamin, Jerry Wilder, Sonny Hightower, Maurice Burden, we call him Mo, very good player, Johnny Boy, Stanley McDowell. Again, I'm speaking about brothers of all, how could you say, 10 or 20 year spans too, like 69, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, decades we could call it. Bobby Wilson, Rufus Tillman, Henry Reams, we call him Hank, Barry Rosser, Lou and Eddie Mathis, David Mosley, Charles Dixon, what a player, Kawan Johnson, Gene Foreman, Milton Evans. These are just to name a few. Again, there were so many more. Giggles, Herman, had this brother named Hezekiah. We call him Hezekiah. He was quiet, like Bernard King. Also, we had other areas of Paterson that had bona fide players. Remember, no 3-point line, no triple step backs, which is walking, no palming and carrying the ball and running with the ball. You had Rory Sparrow, Art Lowry. This is the Pound, Alabama Projects. Steve McGriff, Jeff McGriff also. All the McGriff brothers was tough. This brother named Tyrone, David Moore, Morris Bethune, Sham and Just, Pop, Gus Montgomery. All right. We also had from other areas such as School 15, We had TC, Hector, Kazzy, Weedo, Bob Bivens, John Johnson, J.C. Campbell, Fuzzy Mojica, Grand Street. Now, this is interesting. Grand Street, you had to bring your A game and you had to bring your physical game when you came to Grand Street projects. We had Fontaine, who played with a toothpick in his mouth. Very good brother, solid. The Bennett boys, Harold Bennett and his brother. Al, the Moody's, Al and Ordell Moody. Phil Jackson, the McCullum brothers, Bob and James, and all those brothers. I don't know if Ross Jenkins played up there, but I think Ross played up there too. Newman Playground. A lot of you guys didn't even heard of Newman Playground. It was on Governor Street, behind Governor Street. The best at his time in high school and college was Tony Murphy from Newman Playground. Very serious player. I tried jumping on him one time and demolished me. Also, we had 12th Ave, we had David Henry, and the lower end of 12th, we had a brother named Michael Johnson, who ran that whole section down there. Very crafty, creative. But there's a brother also off of Carroll Street. I think he was the youngest or the first youngest brother I seen dunk the ball at 5'9" or no more than 5'11" was John Hall. You guys never heard of John Hall? Psh, John Hall was the first one dunking the basketball. Then we had my area, which was called School 6. Whew. School 6, if back in the day, I think it was the 80s. School 13 was like this too. If you lost the game, you might as well just go home, because you will not get back on that court that day unless your reputation and your game was that good, which very few had that. So we had who did we have there? Oh God, I think I mentioned School 6, right? Okay, so let's skip by School 6 and go to School 13. We had Al Cousins, Owen Tompkins, James Scott, Carl Price, Greg DeBose, God rest his soul in peace. And for all the brothers that's no longer with us, rest in peace. Nick Johnson, Big Ferguson, Herb Watkins, James Scott. We also had a brother named Mike Jones. I don't know if Mike Jones and John Bethea was from School 24 or 13, but I think Greg DeBose and Tim and John, I know, played at 24. I think Tim played at, Tim Thomas played at 24s too. Tony Davis, Tim Thomas. Whew, these names, boy. Then we have Fifth Ave, Bosco Bell, Coochie, Pete Palmer, Beatty, Ralph Childs, the Davis Boys, Duck. Then we go down the hill to my friends down the hill. Richie Ruth, 5'7" or 8. Serious playmaking point guard / shooter slasher. Richie Ruth was one of the best opponents I played against. He had a brother named Renee and Ace. They were okay, but Richie, outstanding. Willie Baker, we call him Bousse. Stacy and James Hargrove. Tyrone Collins, just like Phil Jackson, big man Charles. I think Steve Goodall played with Steve Goodall also. Add in there Sherman Staten, Frierson, a problem. Vaughn DeBerry, a blur. Alan Gales, Tukey Suffering, Art Redman. So we had Montgomery Street, we had Malik and Norris, Edwards, Ski, Larry Perry, a couple other players down Montgomery. Now this is just a brief list of players that played back there and in different areas, in different eras. But also, I'm missing a lot of folks. I know I am. So, folks, tell your story. Stop listening to stories from folks that never laced up or never faced these folks that I just mentioned to you. I faced every one of them, and I'm still facing the kids today. I didn't give you their names too much today because of the triple step back and because of the rules that has been changed, the walking, the carrying. But they're good players. I'm not taking anything away from them, but it's just that the game was different then. And we looked for the competition. We didn't make friends on the court after the game, sure. Also, there was no nicey stuff, bro. So, next session will be about New York. And then I'll come back to Jersey about Teaneck, Passaic, Inglewood, Glen Rock, Secaucus, Irvington, and all the Jersey spots, Newark, the whole. I'll give you some players from those areas too. Okay, your boy, Noonie Noon. Peace.